didn't lose her clothes, they lost a body. That's significant, that's a big deal. That shouldn't happen to anyone.
A nightmare you would not think possible after a local woman loses her own mother. After her mom died from COVID-19, turns out her body was actually misplaced.
Brandy Lewis went into a panic, hoping her mom could be found. Our CIERRA Shipley spoke with Lewis about how this could happen and why she blames both the hospital and the funeral home for losing her mother.
When Brandy Lewis went to Belmead Funeral Home to dress her mother, there was a different woman lying in her casket. Lewis immediately knew that wasn't her mom, Sherry, and she went into a panic.
I saw this lady and I looked at her and I thought that I was crazy. I thought my mind was playing tricks on me. Then all of a sudden I was like, this is not my mom.
Brandy Lewis was grieving over her mother, Sherry Pilgrim, after passing away from COVID-19. Grief turned to fear when she realized that Belmead Funeral Home not only had the wrong woman, but she wasn't at the funeral home altogether.
The funeral director, he knows me. He's rubbing my arm and he says, Brandy, it's always harder when it's someone we're close to. And he thinks I'm having an emotional breakdown from losing my mother, and no, I'm having a breakdown because they've lost my mother.
Lewis starts to think the worst.
Where is your mother? Is she cremated? Is she buried somewhere else? Whose body do I have?
Lewis believes Ascension Providence, which is where Pilgrim passed, had tagged her mother wrong. We reached out to the hospital in the process of tagging the deceased, and they responded with, Ascension Providence works with grieving families to ensure their loved ones are handled with care and respect. Once the deceased patient is transferred to the mortuary, he or she is no longer under the care or responsibility of Ascension Providence.
I think that they are both equally at fault.
Lewis blames both Ascension Providence and the Belmead Funeral Home for the swap. Lewis has history with the funeral home. She says they knew her mother just as well, and there were big indicators showing Pilgrim wasn't the one they received.
The scarring on her chest, it was very recognizable, and so, like I said, the lady had no scars.
Pilgrim passed in December, and to this day, Lewis has no idea if the family to the other woman has any idea of the situation.
And I was very close to my mother. I know that wasn't my mother. And then you wonder if the other family even knew. I have no idea if they know.
The Belmead Funeral Home was able to find her mother, and Pilgrim was back within 24 hours. We called them to see how something like this could have happened, and they responded with they have no control of how the bodies are tagged, and in this case, the tags were wrong. In Waco, CIERRA Shipley, 25 News.